Next up, we got George Carlin, drugs and marijuana. This is about to be a very impactful, eye-opening video, I promise you. Let's get into it. Hey y'all, what's goody? What going? Gang. Y'all already know what the going on. The channel's all about providing you with a daily dose of edutainment. In every single video that you watch, you will be entertained, you will laugh, but you will also get information that you can apply to your day-to-day life and make it better. That is my goal, that is my aspiration from me to you. So if you're a returning subscriber, you already know what it is. I ain't gotta tell you much. You're already rocking with me, so I'm grateful that you continue to watch these videos that I put out. And if you're new to the channel, what are you waiting for, bro? What are you waiting for? They should subscribe, like the video. I said whoever doesn't subscribe or like this video,
your mom's a hoe.
That's it, bro. That's it. So if you don't want to be a hoe, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and watch the videos I put out on a continuous basis. Okay? Don't be a ghost subscriber. Straight up. All facts, no cap. Okay? But you got a reaction video recommendation. Courtesy of myself. Courtesy of myself. This is courtesy of mine. I wanted to watch this with y'all. I'll be wanting to watch videos sometimes, but I'm like, do I want to record this? And I got a debate, you know what I'm saying? So let's get into it. George Carlin on drugs and marijuana. It's funny that they say drugs and marijuana, because marijuana is a drug too, no? Anyways, let's get into it.
So that was that. That's how that works.
People who deal in content that's on the edge as you do oftentimes live a life that's similarly on an edge. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those people go off the rails.
Yeah.
And we lose them and their talent. And you've been able to not do that and been able to pull it back in and
another luck stroke. You know, you gotta have luck in this world. Part of it's your genetic makeup, that's luck. And then what you do with it is also partly genetic, because hard work is genetic. The desire to do hard work, the willingness to work hard and be determined and not be turned aside, that's all genetic too. It can be altered a little and reinforced, but some of the people who had so much edgy promise, they died young. I mean, Lenny Bruce, Sam Kinison, Andy Kaufman in his way,
sure.
Freddie Prinze, John Belushi, Bill Hicks,
right.
And it's just, I don't know, of course Bill had a natural disorder of his own, I think so did Andy, but it's not always behavior, but sometimes it's just genetic. But it's just that I think there's a degree of luck and intellect involved in giving up things that hurt you. The drug and alcohol thing, it seems to me, comes down to this. Drugs and these things are wonderful. They're wonderful when you try them first. They're not around for all these millennia for no reason. First time, mostly pleasure, very little pain, maybe a hangover. And as you increase and keep using whatever it is, the pleasure part decreases and the pain part, the price you pay, increases until the balance is completely the other way and it's almost all pain and there's hardly any pleasure. At that point, you would hope, then the intellect says, oh, this doesn't work anymore. I'm going to die and I'll do something. But you need people around you who can help you, and you need something to live for. You have to have something to look forward to bring you out of it. You know, there are a lot of people who don't have a lot to live for, and they're sort of stuck inside.
Was there ever any fear that by giving up the drugs, you lose a bit of the genius by giving up the wild lifestyle, sanity being the enemy?
Well, that has been a canard for a long time, that most of this creativity comes from being wacky, and I'm sure there's a lot of truth in that. As far as just being plain old wacky. Where the drugs are concerned and alcohol, they do seem to open a window for you. They do seem to broaden the vistas at first. The thing you have to do is learn when, you know, it's like all these great writers who became drinkers. You have to sort of, like, I find with pot, I'm not a big drug user anymore, but I have always a joint somewhere near me. I don't, you know, Might be hidden. Might be hidden. And what I do, and I hardly touch it maybe once a month, that would be frequent for me. But when I'm writing something, and I write perfectly straight, perfectly sober, and I write a whole lot of stuff, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages, and I really pour it out, the next day, one hit is all I need now. One hit, and it's punch-up time. Time to get this thing going. And you do find, with that sort of judicious use, I find there's some value in it. But most of the things we use don't let you leave them alone. They don't. Pot does, thank goodness for that.
Well, that's excellent. What? Sorry? You can applaud if you wish. That's more than fair.
And I dreamed a path that was traditional. Comedian, disc jockey, comedian, actor, big success. A mainstream dream. Meanwhile, what I really was an outlaw and a rebel because I had lived that kind of life. I got kicked out of 3 different schools. I got kicked out of the Air Force. I got kicked out of the choir. I got kicked out of the altar boys. I got kicked out of summer camp. I got kicked out of the Boy Scouts.
Jeez.
And I quit school at 9th grade. I had great marks. I was a smart kid, but I didn't care. They weren't teaching what I want. I didn't give a shit. It's important in life if you don't give a shit. It can help you a lot. And I was I was a pot smoker when I was 13. We broke the law. We broke into cars. We broke into offices. We broke into Columbia University. We broke into stores. We did all sorts of unlawful things. And I was that kind of person. I was one who swam against the tide of what is expected and what the establishment wants from us. But I didn't know that about myself because this dream blinded me. This dream was about America, about the path that we all follow, the middle of the road, middle class, America, mainstream, will dream. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there like this, fuck those people. Fuck that shit. Look at this stupid shit. No, I don't want to be in the bunny number. Can I get out of the bunny number, please? I don't want to put on that fucking uniform. And I didn't know this dissonance was inside me. And in the period this is happening, all through the 60s, the counterculture was forming. The free speech movement started in Berkeley. The hippies were growing into a force. Peace, love, flower power, pot smoking, anti-authority. See, bing, ding, 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 anti-authority. Throw over the establishment. Burn down the math building? Wow. Ding, 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 ding. So I gravitated toward that because I was that person, really. Yeah. And the people I hung around with were that way. The musicians I knew in the late 50s had gone through that transition. Suddenly they looked different, and their music changed. And I'm listening to people like the Buffalo Springfield. I'm listening to Bob Dylan. I'm listening to these people, and I realize these artists are using their talent to project their feelings and ideas, not just please people. And I began to take some acid and some mescaline. I didn't overdo it. I had a couple of trips that weren't the best, but I had a lot of great trips. And that is a values-changing drug. Hallucinogens are a value changer. So is marijuana. Like it or not, it changes your values. It opens up windows, doors of perception, Aldous Huxley called them. And you see things differently. And I suddenly was able to see my place and to realize I was in the wrong place. You see, in 1967, the summer of love, the peak of the hippie movement, I was 30. I was entertaining people in nightclubs who were 40. And they were at war with their kids who were 20. There was a generation war. I was in the middle of it. I was 30, 20, 40. And I said, what the fuck am I doing over here? These are the people that will at least understand me and give me a chance. I was just expanding. I was just expanding naturally. It wasn't forced. I had denied that part of myself, and finally it came into full flower. And I never became a really big success until that.
I'm showing you, man. This man was mad profound. It's like he said a lot of interesting stuff. I think, like drugs or marijuana, weed, cigarette, gambling, all that stuff, right? Everything has its place to some extent, but it's the abuse of it oftentimes that makes it harmful to us, right? If you're smoking marijuana every day or I don't know, gambling every day, clearly there's an issue. There's an underlying issue that needs to be addressed. My saying in terms of all this stuff is always too much of any good thing is good for nothing. too much water is good for nothing. Too much food, as you can see in our society, is good for nothing. You become obese. Too much water, you get water poison, or you get too much like going on in your stomach, right? But there's a fine line, right? Because like when you start using the substances, they benefit you, and you want to use more of it because of the dopamine spike. So if you're not careful, you can get to the point where you're abusing it and almost become dependent on it. You create a dependency on these substances or activities, watching porn, gambling, for your life. And it's like, this is why like people in general just become addicted to stuff. You start doing it too much. It's the abuse of it that makes it bad for you, right? It's the abuse of it that makes it harmful to you. If any of y'all are struggling with porn or weed or gambling or any type of addiction, cigarettes, I definitely highly recommend y'all check out the Truth of Addiction program, linked in my description and pinned comment of this video. The program just walks you through more guided steps that you should be taking to overcome your own personal addictions to whatever it is that you're addicted to. Because my personal addiction, if you are a returning subscriber, you may have probably seen the videos of my addiction to pornography, where, you know, I just started having erectile dysfunction, right? It got to the point where I was watching so much porn that I couldn't get as hard during actual sex than I was when I was watching porn. Because like when you watch porn, you have like so much stimulation, right? You can watch before. This is how it progressed, right? I would watch like one guy and one girl. That was cool. I could get aroused. Then you become used to it. Kind of like you become used to smoking one blunt a week or whatever it is, right? Then you may want to do it more often. Then I started needing to have one guy and two girls. Then I started wanting to watch one girl get smashed by two guys. And you see it's starting to progress, right? Then you need to watch gangbang sessions or orgy scenes or whatever it is. And I'm getting kind of graphic, but like that's where I was leading towards if I didn't stop. So if you're having issues, here's the precedence of whether or not you're addicted, right? If you stop for X amount of months or X amount of weeks, right? If you're able to go a whole month, I would say, without your addiction or without smoking weed or smoking a cigarette or watching porn, then you're probably not addicted to it. But if you can't go more than a month or 2 months without it, then you're probably addicted. Especially if you're seeing if you're seeing it have negative impacts on your life. Whether that be you're spending so much money on that, you're like myself, getting erectile dysfunction, not able to have proper sex with your partner, or whatever else. If you're having negative effects from it, from your abuse of it or your consumption of it, and you can't stop, despite the fact that you want to, that is the term of an addiction. Alright, so I'm just glad to share my own personal experience with y'all. I'm just trying to be real on this channel. No fake shit, no fake love, all that stuff, right? So if y'all effing with me, I appreciate you. If you're not, hopefully you will at some point. If not, it's cool too. You can't please everybody. Everybody doesn't love Raymond, and not everybody hates Chris. You know what I'm saying? But yo, if you have a reaction video recommendation or suggestion, click the PayPal link, donate any amount, and I'll guarantee your video is reacted to in a timely manner. Also, if you just enjoyed the video, enjoyed the information or the laughter, then click the PayPal link as well and donate any amount, and I'm grateful. Also, if you want to cop some merchandise from myself, keep that same energy merchandise, I'm grateful. Keep that same energy essentially means you be real, you be authentic, you don't be fake in any situation. You keep it 100. If they doubted you, overlooked you, slept on you, but now they want to support you, tell them. None of that fake shit, none of that fake love, none of that fake shit. I don't rock with you. You can't be not supporting me here, but now when I'm having success, now you want to support me? Nah, bro, nah. And always remember as well, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. Don't continue to water dead situations. All facts, no cap. See y'all in the next video. Don't leave the channel. See you in the next video. Deuces.